unfortunately, they're not going to stop. And why would they? They've got no incentive to stop. The whole thing is about control. And this control is also motivated by greed, narcissism, ego, and beliefs that suit them. The whole psychology of a religion or even cults or cult like groups is that someone somewhere is getting something out of it. It's all about power and control. And if you think if they stop the shunning practice or disfellowshipping and they would let their followers do what they feel like, so they could get in touch with their members of the family or friends that they've shunned, how long before there would be a mass walkout? Because these people would wake up to the fact that this organisation and the set of rules have kept them away from their loved ones and have kept them back in life and taken control of their time, their energy, their money. And you don't have to believe in energetic vampires to see that, the elders, the overseers, the governing body, they're all getting a energetic feed from it, really. It's not just money, it's the power goes to their heads and it feeds and boosts their ego. That's why it's so full of narcissists, because narcissists love to feed off other people and to feel important. And the governing bodies looked up like they're gods. Everything they say has to be obeyed. You're not allowed to have your own thoughts. You're not allowed to speak out against governing body. Of course they're going to want to keep that. Why wouldn't they? So also here's some psychological facts as to the hold the religion and cult-like organisations hold. Okay, so you think of cults or religious cults or anything like that, it's actually a sales group. So they're selling something, and what they get back is people blindly giving their obedience, their money, their time, their skills. Everything that I have is built and done by volunteers who do not get paid. So you got free labour. It's like modern day slavery. Cult leaders are typically malignant narcissists and want people who will be obedient to them. Well, I think that describes the governing body perfectly. And in all honesty, nobody would join the cult if they knew it was a cult. The lack of informed consent, like myself, even though I had finished a knowledge book in 96 in the space of 4 or 5 months, I still didn't know everything about the cult because they withheld information. They give basics and then they are very manipulative how they use the information they give out. So by the time you're actually realizing what you're in and what all this is about, you have invested probably years, a lot of time and effort. You've lost probably friends and family, and you become isolated. So it's going to be very difficult to admit to yourself, I'm in a cult. So, of course, the deception carries on, talking about following a group. So you've got the group pressure, the peer pressure. If you don't comply, you might think the shunning's bad, but because the whole group's doing it and you don't want to be shunned, you also carry on shunning, even though you know it's not really right. So there's a lot of deception and there's a lot of influence for the people to be dependent and obedient, and they're not just going to up and leave or switch their thinking, because it is like a spider's web. They utilize isolation and control, fear and coercion, and modern day slavery, because if you're getting all these people to do work for you for nothing, doing buildings, doing gardening, donating their money, you know, going out preaching for you and converting people for you, that is modern day slavery. And it's not something people will see straight away, if they're ever going to see it. Therefore, again, that is why they're not going to stop shunning, because if they stopped shunning, it would cause a mass exit. Look, in a governing body, they want the people who'll be obedient to them and their rules. Well, you only need to look at the JW website, read their publication, watch what movies and videos they put out, what talks are given. It is all about you have to be fully compliant, fully obedient, or there will be consequences. So, yeah, on the outside, everyone's looking, oh, there's love amongst ourselves, we're all brothers and sisters. But on the inside, how many witnesses are depressed and ill and on antidepressants and suffering with anxiety because their body knows something's wrong? And the whole process of manipulation is also to create this identity change. So with the witnesses, it's always put on a new personality, take off the old personality. Oh, you've got to change, you've got to dress differently, you've got to think a certain way, you've got to speak a certain way. You become a robot that's been programmed by governing body, and this has been going on for decades. First, Russell started it, then it was Rutherford, then someone else and someone else, and all these men who are narcissists, they know how to hook people in and they have to keep that control over them. So all of that is just a tiny bit of psychology as to why they will not stop their shunning practice. It's a cult. It's run by narcissists, by people who want power and control. They benefit from it. Can you imagine these 8 million people giving all their time and money, doing things for free? And as long as there's been written record of human history, at all times, in every place, there has been some sort of a religion, a group, a set of beliefs that will take control over people's social life and govern their so-called morals. And there will always be somebody who is going to have the most power over this group. And unfortunately, this archaic conception of religion is still very much alive and kicking these days. There's nothing wrong with being spiritual. I consider myself to be spiritual. But religion in itself, as a concept, it is all about fear, control, and manipulation. And it's only the very few at the top that actually benefit from it. And they're not going to give that up. So they're not going to stop the shunning practice because it would take away the control. Lastly, I think the only way Jehovah's Witnesses will ever dissolve as a group is, I don't think it will be soon, but eventually I can see it fizzling out, because how long can you keep going on saying we're in the last days, last of the last days, the end is just around the corner, it is coming, and it not happening? So yeah, I do think it will eventually fizzle out, but it might be quite a few decades yet. So yeah, but I hope I'll be alive to see it.